I'm delighted to be joined by Jana from Nara Logics today. Thank you for joining me. You've been in AI for a while and would love to get your input. I think you have such a unique position and thoughts on responsible AI. There's so much happening with AI, but I love when you start to look at how do we ensure that we're not just doing it, but that we're doing it responsibly.
So I think when people think about responsible AI, they always think, oh, do we have to be responsible? You know, that's the boring part, but I am in the camp of let's make AI boring again, take down some of the hype. It's a lot of fun, and I really am glad people are using AI more day to day in their lives because they are starting to see some of the problems, you know, particularly when they ask it questions that they don't know anything about, they're really excited. But then when they ask the questions that they're expert in, they're kind of like, oh, I got that wrong. But they don't seem to question it quite as much on that stuff that they don't know anything about. And I think them using it more and seeing where some of the challenges are is just going to help the industry more come down from the hype and get into the reality.
And I love that, you know, being able to, the hype is fun. You know, we all love the Kool-Aid. But the sugar rush of it. But I love how do we bring it back to my favorite term, practical and tactical. So I'm excited for what Nara Logics is doing. Can you help describe a little bit more about your platform, kind of what you're able to bring to the customer and how it helps to set them up for responsibly looking at AI?
So deep learning has been really great. So deep learning is kind of the core of AI right now. And it's been fantastic for really expanding what we can do and what we can do well. The challenge with it is that it doesn't handle really disparate streams of data well, especially when you have different volumes of those data. So it does really well with high volumes of data. But when you have some low volume of data that's really critical, that actually should weigh a bit more, it doesn't do quite as well. So what we do is we really help manage all of those different data streams, bring them together, and focus on decision-making. So the reason why I say decision-making is for humans, we have a fully explainable AI, so they can look at the answers that we have and see what was the data, what was the most important data that had an influence on that. So that's for what we call identifying alerts. So that's for problems. We have course of action work that we do. So what's the next thing that I do? And then lastly, we do have prediction AI, but you know why those predictions are being made. So it's kind of like having an analyst that you're working with and seeing, what do I do next? What should I pay attention to? What do I think is going to happen next?
I love the thought of not just predicting, but helping people to understand the why. And I think the why is just as important sometimes to be able to build the trust, the confidence, and also to know that the AI is not freelancing, shall we say. Building on kind of the understanding of the platform, what are some of the attributes or kind of the 1 to 3 things that makes Nara Logics special or unique in how you're approaching this area?
So, I mean, the explainability, of course, because most people don't have explainability with their platforms. There are different tools that you can use for explainability, but ours is built in. And so having that at the core, that helps with validation. So when people are looking at, they don't just have to rely on a benchmark that's available. They can actually see what they're seeing. It fits better with there's not always a benchmark to fit with your use case, as an example. And then your use cases usually lead into your production more. So that ability to go faster into production because you have faster validation, you have explainability so that the subject matter experts can really look at it and say, oh, I see what the machine's seeing there, but that's wrong. We need this other data in there. So that's really the core of what we do, and it helps us move faster and get into production faster.
That's so impactful for the customers you're working with, and how they can make decision-making with confidence and with that responsibility. So I'm thrilled you're now part of Unleash AI, but would you like to share kind of why you decided to join Unleash AI and work with HPE?
So our primary customer is the Department of Defense and the U.S. government in general. And, you know, it's high consequence decisions that are being made there. What's important about that is the ecosystem that's done in. And so what's great and why it's important for us to work with folks like HPE is your range that you have there from the very high performance computing, right? Our HPC side, when I was working back in the lab, I worked on Craze. You have that heritage and that continuing drive to push up the high performance. But we also have to go out to the edge. So working with someone that understands that transition is really important to us and our customers. And the things that we're doing, we can't just do on commodity hardware, and we can't work with a commodity vendor. And having HPE's backing as we go into those customers, it's all a partnership. So the customer, HPE, and us working in unison really has that impact. And that's why we're excited and honored to be part of the program.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining Unleash AI.
It's been great. Appreciate your inviting us. Thank you.